breaking news. We'd like to announce our signing for a new five-a-side team. I won't say the team name on here just in case. But we have moved clubs. A signing fee at what? Nothing. No signing fee.
It's basically
it's a free transfer.
Imagine if Watford and Norwich merged to try and actually have a chance of staying up. That's what we've done. We've merged with the other worst team in the league.
We've merged with the worst club and the second worst club, joined together to make just an ultimate show.
Yeah, very much.
Really. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Handbags, Manbags, Bumbags podcast. No Jake again this week, I'm afraid.
We sacked him.
We have sacked him.
Told you that last week.
Yeah, it was a misconduct hearing behind the scenes that he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a. I don't know what we're waffling on about.
I don't know what. It's one of. This is one of our. You're going about me having shit intros. This is dreadful.
Yeah, he has a genuine excuse to once. Usually it's because he's asleep. He is away.
He is at home.
To the dentist.
Getting his gammy teeth sorted out. But
we can slag him off as much as we want because we know he don't listen.
I know he doesn't listen. He only listens when it's him that's making an input. Like when we broke you the news last week. Well, no, it wasn't last week. It was a couple of weeks ago.
10th of January in terms of recording.
You will have seen it on our social media accounts that we broke the news about Christian Eriksen. So we'll take credit for that.
Insider sources.
Insider sources at the HMB Podcast.
Finally, a proper bit of content from this podcast. Transfer scoop.
About time, really. Yeah, talking about transfer scoops is actually what we're going to be talking about today, really. We're going to be going around all the 20 clubs, if we've got time.
Definitely won't.
As long as we're quick. We've got a stopwatch in front of us.
We never are quick, though,
No, we're not. But we'll go around all of the 20 clubs. We'll say a player or two that really they need to sign and whether there's any business that could be done that's smart, being the smart way to do things at certain clubs. It's just, we will delve in. But you will have seen last week about my rant about Burnley. It's not gone down too well. It's gone down quite well, actually.
Yeah, so can we claim that then? We're claiming we broke the Eriksen news. Can we claim that we fixed Burnley?
No, I've fixed Burnley.
I helped.
I've put us back into form to some extent. I mean, the point against Arsenal was pretty good. My transfer rant is slowly starting to come back through. The Croatian king is on his way to Burnley, supposedly. We'll see. But yeah, in terms of this week's episode of the HMB Podcast, it is going to be transfer news with deadline day coming up on Monday next week, as we probably will be recording next week's episode. So it'll be pretty impossible for us to actually do anything.
Yeah,
and like usually it'll be reacting to old news. So
and it'll be something, knowing us, we'll say something and it'll turn out to be completely wrong 3 hours later, and once deadline day comes through,
more than likely,
we'll sit here and talk about Burnley, the Orsic deal collapsing, and it'll magically go through at the last minute out of nowhere.
But let's just dive straight into things, and we'll start with the Gunners, Arsenal. They've been the subject of a number of interesting deals this window.
A lot of near misses.
A lot of names, and none of them have happened.
Yep. Well, obviously the big one was Dusan Vlahovic.
Yep. Dusan Vlahovic, linked with a £70 million move to Arsenal. The player said he wasn't going to move this window.
Yep. And then Juve have signed him.
Now Juve come along, and he's sodded off to Turin.
Yep. So basically, what he meant, Spurs are interested as well. What he meant is he wanted a club that was actually in Europe.
Yeah. And Arsenal probably won't be next season if they continue the way they're going.
Probably not, no. Well, they go through spells, Arsenal, don't they?
They
have
go
good
through
spells and bad spells.
They had a good run prior to Christmas, but after Christmas they've been a bit iffy. I mean, they're out the League Cup now. I mean, they drew at home to Burnley. I mean, God help them, really. I mean, yes, we did park the bus the whole game, but
yeah, you park the bus every game, doesn't it? It doesn't usually work.
That's what Burnley do. But in terms of Arsenal, obviously we've had Vlahovic, who's clearly turned them down. Even though there was probably going to be a fee agreed.
Yeah, another one that's breaking news in the last hour as of time of recording. So
we can't claim to break this one, unfortunately.
Is Bruno Guimaraes, however you say it. However you pronounce it, he's off to Newcastle now. He was meant to be another Arsenal target, but for the summer this time. It's not a January move.
He's interesting. It is interesting this because when we did quite a long while ago, actually, 3 players that each club should sign and 3 players they should get rid of. I said Guimaraes to come in at Manchester United. So that's an interesting one.
I have no idea what I said.
No, I vividly remember that because I've mentioned Varane, I mentioned Sancho that we're going to go, and obviously they have gone and have not really lived up to the hype. I did say Guimaraes to go to United, and I'll check the footage because I'm pretty sure I did say that.
I think I probably said Declan Rice or something, just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I think Jake probably also said the same.
None of us would have said Ronaldo, definitely.
No, because that was a bit out of the blue,
But
really.
the other thing with Arsenal is that the main thing with them is they've caused controversy this window because they've been calling games off a lack of players and they've loaned 3 players out. Pablo Mari,
Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and who was the other one?
Florian Balogun to Middlesbrough.
Yeah, but interesting with Arsenal, really. I mean, yes,
in the squad,
they're showing some intent trying to bring in some younger talent, but if they're losing out to clubs like Newcastle, who are scraping it at the bottom of the table,
they need a striker before the end of the window, unless they're going to sort out Aubameyang and put him back in the team and get him firing again.
I don't think they will, though. I mean, Aubameyang's come out and said that he wants a move to a European club.
Yeah.
Which he's probably not going to get. I think, if any, the one he would have gone to is probably Juve. I don't know. If they had got Vlahovic, I'd have seen Aubameyang going to Juve, but it's not going to happen now. Al Nassr in Qatar, I think they play.
Yeah.
They were linked with a move for Aubameyang. Again, doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if we were going to say one player that Arsenal do need to bring in before the end of the January window, who would you say?
I don't know.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah,
that's really helpful.
They need a striker, definitely.
I
don't know
who's
available in the next 5 days or whatever.
Well,
the answer is there probably no one.
A club like Arsenal, they're going to struggle to get a big name in the 5-day period.
Yeah.
So realistically, they are probably going to have to stick with Nketiah and Lacazette.
We'll see.
But we shall see. But
someone who's had a much better window, though, if we move on, is
Aston Villa. Yes.
Carrying on their trend, there's about 4 windows in a row they've made some incredible signings.
Yep, and 2 of which in this window, potentially a third if they can agree on a fee with a certain player. But obviously they've signed Felipe Coutinho on loan with an option to buy from Barcelona. Yeah. They've also managed to hijack Luca Dean from Everton, which is quite funny.
Yeah, the fact that Rafa forced out of the club because he didn't get on with Rafa, just for Rafa to go a week later and then sets up the winner and Villa beat Everton at Goodison Park.
Yep, and then gets a bottle thrown at him, which is just
that's when it stops being funny at that point.
Damn right stupid. But in terms of Villa, they are showing the intent, and Steven Gerrard is showing some intent that he wants to get that side back into the top 10 and potentially pushing for Europe.
They don't need too much as well. You think some of the signings they've already got but out injured. Buendia has had his couple of months dodgy start and now he's looking on again. Leon Bailey's looked really good when he's actually fit, and then you've got obviously outside of signings, you've got young already players already there, and then the youngsters like Jacob Ramsey coming through.
Yeah,
very good squad. So I think
they have got a very good squad. But the one signing that I don't get, which they did in the summer, is Danny Ings. I mean, they've used him.
He's just injury prone, isn't he?
He's not really been injury prone. He's just been sat on the bench the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Gerrard, I think.
But that's because Ollie Watkins has got back into form again.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't really think they need anything else now. I think they've had a good enough window.
Well, we've seen in the last couple of days that Rodrigo Bentancur has been linked, the Juve centre midfielder, but there's complications with a certain sell-on clause that Boca Junior put in his contract.
Yeah.
So whether that'll happen or not is... Just imagine that. Coutinho... Rodrigo Bentancur and then John McGinn in the midfield.
And then you've also got as well the outrageous one from this time last week of Luis Suarez to Villa.
Oh, God.
Don't see that one, but...
No. But it's showing some intent from Villa and it's good for them. If they want to get up the table and really push for the European places.
Well, that's the Brummies stop not listening anymore. Well done.
No, why do we have any Brummies anyway? I mean, let's face it. But... Yeah, if we're going to say one player that Villa should sign before the end of the window, I think it's got to be trying to push that Bentancur deal through.
Yeah, well, just because I'd say if anything,
I don't know who else Villa are linked with.
I'm not convinced they need anything else.
I mean, potentially a centre half, but
no, they've got
Gerrard's got Mings playing well again.
Yeah. Who's next?
Brentford, I think.
Testing my alphabetical order of the Premier League. Yeah.
There's no really other easy way to say this with Brentford. Just sign Christian Eriksen, move on.
Yeah, again, Brentford, we all know their transfer strategy. They're very, very good at what they do. They're the majority of the time, they'll sign someone you've never heard of, and they'll turn out to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, they've been linked with Brennan Johnson this window, the supposed Championship wonder kid.
Yeah, he will not.
He won't be going this window.
Forest won't let him go in the next couple of days.
20 million quid was the quoted price, and I think that's quite a lot to spend in January on a player that's not fully proven yet, but he's showing signs of it. Yeah,
well, we'll see with that one. I think realistically, Brentford. I never know who to say for Brentford because I go and recommend them a well-known player, and they'll go and pick someone random from like the Danish league, and it'll turn out to be incredible, and he'll get like 7 goals or something. So you never do know. But with Brentford, I think I wouldn't say there's one specific thing they need. They just need a bit of depth.
Yeah,
that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, their starting 11 is essentially capable of staying in the division.
They've had a lot of injuries, which has weakened their team. So they just get a couple of players in, add some legs in, and it's Brentford. They're gonna if they sign someone, it's gonna work out the majority of the time.
More than likely, yeah. And obviously, I think the best business Brentford have done this window is tying Thomas Frank down to a new deal.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's a really good piece of business for them, but. I think the player, if I was going to say one for them to sign, it would be Eriksson. I mean, it just works.
It's a cop out because he's already signing.
He is signing, but it just works really.
We love a good cop out on this podcast.
The Danish links. I mean, yes, we don't know how fit he's going to be. Obviously, he's playing with that pacemaker and stuff, and we don't know whether his match sharpness is going to be there.
Well. So their smartness with transfers. There is only going to be a 6-month deal to start with, and then an option for another year. A lot of clubs will just come straight in with an 18-month contract, and then after 6 months they'll realise he's not able to play and have to terminate it.
Exactly. But yeah, I think Brentford's a tough one really because they don't really look like strengthening towards the end of this window.
I don't think they need to be honest. Their squad's good enough to stay up.
I don't know really because the last couple of weeks they've looked really rusty. But when Brentford are on it, they are on it. But when they are not on it, they are shit.
Yep, but they have got 5 teams at least that are worse than them, so they should be more than safe.
It depends whether they have a really rough patch and really get sucked into it, but I don't think they will. Next club is a team that's really been defying all the odds this season, really. And
the Draw Merchants.
Yeah, it is the Draw Merchants, but they play some pretty good football.
Different animal last 10 minutes, they are.
Brighton.
They are bang average for 80 minutes, but they're prime Barcelona in the last 10.
Exactly. Graham Potter has been linked with all sorts of managerial jobs.
Every time a job comes up in the Premier League, Graham Potter becomes the favourite in the first couple of hours.
Exactly. But obviously he's really building a really good young squad at Brighton. Young squad. I mean, the business in the summer was really good, and signing the players like Mwepu, Mark Cucurella, who's been brilliant for their system, because obviously they play with wing-backs.
Yeah.
What do they need to... I don't think they really need to do anything in January, if I'm honest.
No,
I mean, Brighton's one club that they're so safe. They're not really going to get into Europe, but they're not going to go down either.
The thing I always say
so really,
Brighton
it's consolidating for the next season, where they can really push to get
Europe.
It's
a solid striker for me, always. That's always my go-to for Brighton.
You say that, but then Morpay and Danny flipping Welbeck just pull out random goals here and there.
Yeah, but I just think it has... at some point, they need to just tie down the striker who's going to get them consistently... like 10 goals a season or whatever.
Yeah.
Welbeck does the job, but he's better off the bench than he is starting. Morpay is getting there, but you need someone else as well, because you think Burnley have had, until January, we were saying last week, Chris Wood's been getting double figures every season.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get double figures this season.
No, but you see what that is.
Genius, selling him while he's in crap form. Genius. But if we were to say one player for Brighton to sign, I'd say, well... I don't know, really.
Oh, we did forget, actually. Jonas Lossell came into Brentford, didn't he?
Backup keeper.
David
Ray's still injured.
For the season, yeah. We did forget that.
But yeah, that's not a bad option, really. But
so the other thing is they have let 2 strikers go, Brighton, as well. Not that they play very often in Connolly and Lacadia, but they have...
So Connolly's gone to get some championship experience at Middlesbrough.
Yeah, if they get a couple of injuries, if Morpay or Welbeck gets injured, then they are starting to slowly run out of options up front.
Yeah.
But realistically, they're already safe. They have got the option
to play Trossard as a false 9, essentially, which is another option. But I don't think really Brighton really need anyone in particular. There's this young lad that they've been linked with from Paraguay, but I'm not really in a position to comment about Paraguayan football.
No, I'd be looking at getting... Probably again too late now, saying 5 days in the window. I think realistically this season they've achieved their goal. They're basically safe unless they have an absolute crisis.
Yeah.
And we all know they're not really going to push for Europe. So at this point it's just finishing as high as possible. Go again in the summer. And now you've impressed every potential signings. Will be impressed by your season.
Exactly. But talking about a club in a crisis brings me to last week's focus, which is of course Burnley.
Yep. Oh, at the moment, you've signed no one, but Orsic is looking very close.
It is looking very close. Mislav Orsic from Dinamo Zagreb is looking like it's all but done.
Yep, absolutely destroyed Spurs.
A fee has been agreed. £7 million is a steal for a player of that quality. Personal terms look like they're not going to be an issue. It's just looking like we've got to get them agreed. And if the off chance we do go down to the Championship, which I'm not really that confident about.
Yeah, you get that, mate.
Orsic has supposedly stated that it'll stay at the club in the Championship. I mean, apparently, when West Brom were after him a couple of seasons ago, he said he dropped down to the Championship with them. So, what's the whole difference really here? But I think it's not... A winger is obviously a key position for us, because obviously we are still currently playing Aaron Lennon as a winger. Nothing against Aaron Lennon, because he puts a shift in. But Orsic will just provide that quality that we need.
Yeah.
And Cornet's obviously coming back from AFCON soon. In time for the Watford game.
The other thing as well is Burnley need a striker to follow on this ongoing trend that seems to be every club so far. I've told them to get a striker.
Yep. But Burnley is certainly a club that do need a striker big time.
As we've mentioned.
As we've mentioned prior.
With Chris Wood leaving.
Chris Wood obviously going to Newcastle for £25 million. Yeah. Nothing we could do about that. They just triggered his release clause. But a lot of the rumours of strikers that we've been linked with are coming out of France. There's 3 in particular that have been, mildly linked. I mean, we've got Serhou Guirassy from Rennes. He's been linked with a potential loan to buy. Can't say I know anything about him, although he came off the bench a couple of weeks ago and scored twice.
Because you had no idea who he was until you first looked.
Some guy from Lorient called Loriente or something. Not exactly proven, but he's young and he's potentially got something about him. Do not know. And Marseille are looking to get players off the books, and a young 21-year-old striker called Bamba Dieng, who scored in AFCON for Senegal at the yesterday. He's supposedly linked with a move to Turf Moor. But if I'm honest, I'd rather just try and get someone from this side of the pond, really, in the UK. I think
Andy Carroll.
No, not just Andy Carroll. I mean, if we sign a decent striker, I wouldn't mind him on a temporary 6-month deal. But he can't be leading the line with us. I said this last week. We need a quality-proven striker who's potentially maybe just on a loan. I mean, we've been linked with other players on loan. Obviously, Aaron Ramsey. The links have resurfaced for him in the last couple of months. Whether that'll work on wages, probably not. But we're certainly trying. There's no question about that. We are certainly trying. But I'm not going to really gloss into this too much with Burnley, because obviously we mentioned it a lot last week.
Yeah.
But for you, one player we should sign, and you can't say Orsic because...
Why not?
It's all but confirmed.
Well, I'm going to do my standard thing that I've been doing, is I'm not going to name a single player. I'm going to name a position, which is striker. And then in the summer, it will be centre-half, because Tarkowski's going to leave.
I don't think so. Nathan Collins, he'll slot straight in.
Yeah, but you need someone to cover then. You need someone to take this up.
Just got someone else from Stoke. Suter, he'll do.
He's got one leg at the moment.
Yeah, but at the end of the season, Tyrese Campbell, he can come to Burnley. There we go.
Yeah, he'll play centre-half.
Yeah, I've sod it. Right, Chelsea.
Let's not waste any time on Chelsea. No one's going to come in because they don't need anyone. Simple as.
And, the only player they're trying to get back in is Emerson Palmieri because of Chilwell's injury.
Yeah, they're trying to get Emerson back, or maybe...
he just doesn't want to come back.
Or maybe Kazara on loan.
Yeah.
Realistically, they're not going to get anyone in. They don't need to. Their squad depth is mental. And the only person who might go the other way is Ross Barkley, maybe, but
nothing's really.
Everyone who was linked with Barkley is now linked with Lingard, and I think I know which one I'd rather sign. So he's probably going to stay.
Yeah. Well, I could see Burnley potentially signing Barkley, potentially as a deadline day panic buy, probably. But yeah, Chelsea don't really need anyone, do they? It's pretty simple, really. Going across London towards the south now, Palace.
Yeah, Palace. Don't
really need anyone, but they have been linked with a very marquee signing in the last couple of days.
I was going to say, it's been very quiet for the first 3 weeks of the window, and now they've submitted a loan offer for Donny van der Beek.
It's only a loan offer, no loan to buy, solely a loan. And would this be I think it'd be a great move for Donny van der Beek. I mean, obviously it's World Cup year, and he wants to get back in that Dutch squad.
It'll get him minutes on the pitch, and Palace get a hard-working midfielder.
Exactly.
Win-win.
Exactly. Then it's up to the new Manchester United manager in the summer what he wants to do with Donny, whether he sells on or whether they keep him. So it's been
pretty quiet from Palace.
It has been
again,
quiet.
They don't and you say you don't need anyone, but then at the same time they are only a couple of injuries away from being in trouble.
Yeah,
but
I think Vieira knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got his setup he likes, and I think Van der Beek would suit his setup as well.
He would.
He runs around a lot. He's quite similar to Conor Gallagher. He's got a lot of. He can run around, cover the hard yards. He knows what he's doing up the pitch, and he's not too shabby at the defensive side as well.
Yeah, no, that'll be a great signing for Palace, really. And
it
is a position they need, because obviously they don't really want to be playing Luka Milivojevic for much longer.
Yeah,
he is aging quite heavily.
I think it makes sense as well for all parties, really. So I could see that one definitely going through.
Yeah. Who's next? It's Everton, isn't it?
Everton, yeah. Interesting.
They're a club in disarray at the minute, really.
Obviously, we've mentioned Digne already. What we did forget to mention is Anwar El Ghazi went the other way, and but not as part of the deal, as a separate thing
at all, really.
On loan. Nathan Patterson from Rangers is a good signing once I actually start playing him, but for some reason he was left fully out the squad when he was fully fit and played with the 23s the day after, so I don't know what happened there.
Vitaly Michalenko from Dynamo Kiev.
Who I've never heard of, but has looked.
No, I've heard of him. He's not bad, but again, not proven.
He's looked all right in the games, in the highlights I've seen so far.
The problem is though, he's no Digne.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
And that's a big loss for Everton. I mean, the fans turned on the board. I mean, it's just...
Everton's problem is they need a lot.
Well, they're not going to get anything, really.
They're not going to get anything.
They've not even got a manager yet.
Yeah, they're struggling
Vitor
with
Pereira
money.
has been very heavily linked with the Everton job. Frank Lampard's also been linked, supposedly.
Yeah, he's looking like he's going to be Vitor Pereira for 6 months, and then they go again in the summer.
Who do they bring in the summer, though? It's for another day, really. But in terms of Everton, they do...
Yeah,
well, the squad should be, in theory, top 10, but... Rafa was just never the right manager. Rafa was just not the right manager. It just wasn't the right manager, Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, I think the other problem they have as well is that they're now feeling the effects of wasting so much money in the last couple of summers.
Just useless crap.
In the last couple of summers, spending 100 million plus in 2 summers in a row and only like 2 signings working out. That is starting to come back to bite them now.
It is coming back to haunt them.
They are now struggling for money.
It is. We do need to shift this on a bit, so we'll go on to Leeds. Not really much happening there at Leeds, really.
It's been pretty quiet. I thought they would have wanted, because they've got a lot of injuries. I don't know how long-term they are. You'd think they'd be looking at a couple of players, but it's all gone rather quiet, really.
I mean, there was one guy they linked with from Salzburg. I can't really remember his name. Was it Carlos or not? I don't know. I'm not even going to think about pronouncing it, but he has been linked with a supposed £20 million move from Salzburg. It has been quiet for Leeds.
I thought there'd be a lot going around, especially with... like you say, the injuries they've got this season. That's the only reason they're down the table. They're not got worse as a team. They're just they're playing bloody Shackleton at right wing back all the time, because it's not his natural. He does a very good job there.
He does do a good job,
but it's not his natural position.
No,
Do you think they'd be looking to maybe improve the depth? But then again, I suppose, how much money have you got? That's going to be the problem.
It's whether Radrizzani really wants to get his checkbook out or use the loan market.
But again, at the same time, the other way you could look at it is they're probably going to survive. The case of you've got 5 teams worse than them, and the 4 we said the relegation between. If anyone's going to join that fight, it's going to be Everton, so not Leeds. So they're basically already safe. So at this point, you might as well
plan for the summer.
Just start thinking ahead to the summer, because you know you're not going to go down. You're not going to get top half realistically. So just carry on as you were, and then save the money for the summer.
Exactly right. Leicester City next. They need a centre back, but they ain't going to get one this window unless it's on a loan.
Yep. Again, injuries will lead to.
Leicester have been really bad. Leicester and Leeds have been the worst 2 teams with injuries this
100%.
season.
And then what you do have coming through is some people coming back. We saw James Justin make his first start in a year.
This time last year, I think it was the FA Cup game against Stoke was his last.
Yeah, so it was about in approximately a year. He's come back to the starting lineup, did a decent shift.
Yep.
I
don't think Wesley Fofana's too far off either.
Yeah, they're starting to get players back, but the thing is with Leicester, they've had an injury crisis the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Again, it's going to be for their case. They tend to buy to replace in a way. When they have a feeling if they know someone's going to go, then like the likelihood it looks like Tielemans is probably going to leave in the summer, because they're going to struggle for a European finish this year, which you'll probably see Tielemans move to a minimum Europa League club, if not Champions League. So. In the summer, they'll probably be looking.
Well, it's going to be a big price for Tielemans, seeing as Leicester paid $40 million for him in the first hand. And it's whether he's got a release clause.
If they don't finish in Europe, he will probably end up going. They've got
the talent to come through. I mean, we've seen the likes of Kiernan Dewsbury Hall come through the ranks of Leicester. I mean, they've got a really good setup at the King Power.
Yeah, they don't really need anyone. Anyone really. Would be.
I mean, realistically, I don't think any of the next 3 clubs really need anyone. It's more outgoings. I mean, Liverpool don't need anyone, do they?
Well, we never do business in January anyway.
No, and the only outgoings really would be Nico Williams or Matt Phillips.
Yeah, apparently Newcastle are interested in Phillips now. They've backed out of the Carlos deal as like just a quick option of they've got to the point now of, oh God, we've got 4 days and haven't signed a defender yet, so they've just picked Phillips because they know he's done all right in the Premier League.
Yeah, Manchester City, Julian Alvarez has come in supposedly, but then being loaned back out to River Plate.
Yeah, but he will be
potentially the next Aguero.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know how much he'll actually play. He'll probably end up being one of those players. He'll probably get sent Girona next year or something, and then it'll get to the same extent Gabriel Jesus has really got. Not really hit the heights, but shown elements of potential. But the big outgoing there is Ferran Torres, my pick for Young Player of the Year, and we did our predictions.
How that backfired, really.
Somehow Barca got up 55 mil to sign him, and somehow that worked, but I'm not sure why they let that happen, to be honest.
Absolute fraud.
I can't believe they let him go. He was playing really well at the start of the season. The Euros really gave him the confidence boost he needed. The injury
that he got really didn't really help.
He's found a new confidence at false 9 instead of out wide, and then they signed, I suppose, 55 million. They'll probably go and spend that on Haaland or something in the summer.
Yeah.
And a bit of their own money.
Man United, well, it would help if we had Jake here, really.
Martial going out is the big thing for United at the moment.
Yeah, he's gone on loan to Sevilla, but it doesn't look like any incomings.
Van der Beek's set to follow by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Incomings have been surprisingly quiet. I know Jake, and particularly as one he's ranting about, was the fact that Mönchengladbach have said that Dennis Zakaria is available for just £6 million because he's out of contract in the summer.
Bite the bullet on that.
And no one seems interested, which Jake was particularly annoyed about for United. And I think it doesn't look like anyone's going to come in. But so Martial going out, we all knew was coming because the agent said like a month ago that he wants to leave in January. Mm-hmm. But the thing is with United now is going to be contract situations with the likes of Lingard, who may be leaving, but no deal seems to be coming through, and Pogba. Are they going to go on a free, or are you going to try and get them tied down for another year so you can sell them?
Both go for a free, I think.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way it goes now.
Which for Pogba is a big, big loss. But
yeah, I say Lingard is the only other person I could see leaving in January, really. But again, every time he seems to be close to someone, he just asks for too much money, because the way United's wage structure is. So
yeah.
Although Stuart Pearce did come out the other day and say West Ham are still interested. Obviously, he's part of the coaching staff of Moyes there.
Yeah.
West Ham would be interested on another 6-month loan deal, and then obviously then they know they can nab him for free in the summer if it goes well.
Yeah. Newcastle, HMS buy the league.
By staying up, you mean?
Well, yeah.
Buy the league. They're still a good 10 years away from that.
Yeah, but they've...
Wood and Trippier.
So far.
We've already mentioned Wood last week, so we'll skip over that one.
Trippier's shown signs, but again... He's playing...
A good signing, definitely.
It's a good signing, but not proving it yet.
A bit of leadership in the defence as well. They definitely need a centre-half.
They've been linked with literally everybody.
So Diego Carlos, they pulled out the deal this week.
We mentioned earlier about Guimaraes potentially going to Arsenal. He's not. Yeah. A £30 million fee has been agreed with Newcastle,
that is a very good signing. Because we've had conversations, I can't remember if they were on the podcast or not, that a midfielder is needed because... You can sort your defence out, but when
they don't need a midfielder. Look at John Joe Shelby. He's going to form again. When
your best midfielder is an out-of-form Joe Willock in a relegation fight, it's not a good side.
No.
Good sign, even.
No.
So that's a brilliant...
Cummings have been linked again.
That's a brilliant signing, assuming he can adapt to the league, which is always the question mark when you have a short-term survival aim like Newcastle have. Players might need 6 months to adapt.
Players from Lyon, they just click in the Premier League. King Maxwell
centre-half is definitely needed, so he's looking like the most likely option now is Nat Phillips, which...
Dan Burn's also been linked from Brighton.
Yeah, Dan Burn as well, either a similar sort of players, really.
Either one of those, really, both absolute
Unless they're sticking Dan Burn at left-back.
Yeah.
Well, and a couple of weeks ago, there was a representative from Newcastle came out and said that they'll be looking for a centre-mid, a centre-back and a left-back by the end of the window. Once they had a couple of potential deals for strikers that didn't go through either, so they kind of sacked that off and went centre mid, which is now we've realised is going to be Guimaraes, centre back, which is going to be Burn or Phillips, so potentially a left back to come in as well, unless you just Burn can do a shift there because he does for Brighton, maybe, I don't know. But we'll see what happens with that, really.
Yes. Sorry, I was just checking Twitter. Orsic is signing for Burnley.
So has it come through now, is it?
Pretty much. He said yes to the deal. They'll probably be over for a medical some point tomorrow. Norwich, probably a club that need to do something, but aren't.
Yeah.
No potential incomings. The only potential outgoings is Todd Cantwell potentially, but no one seems to be linked.
No one's interested, are they? Because he's not done anything for a while.
So there's nothing really we can report on Norwich. No. Southampton as well, really. The only incomings potentially signing Brozier on a permanent, which would be brilliant business.
Yeah, they brought Willie Caballero in because they've had injury crisis with their keepers, haven't they? So he's come in to provide a bit of backup while McCarthy recovers on the sidelines.
Yep.
Getting Broha in on a permanent would be a very good deal.
It would.
Because he has shined there, and by the sounds of the interview he did after the Man City game, talking about the game, he seemed like he's very keen to stress about how much he enjoys playing at Southampton and how much he's grown to love the club since signing. So I think he would be up for a permanent move by the sounds of it.
Potentially.
I think he does also realise he's going to struggle for game time at Chelsea, because despite their form, you have got Havertz, Werner and Lukaku. Are you really going to play Broha over any of them, probably even if they are in not brilliant form?
No. Tottenham, been linked with 2 wingers, really. Adama Traore, apparently a fee has been agreed.
Yep, but apparently it's been agreed for the last week and it's not gone any further.
Nothing's happened. And Luis Diaz from Porto, which is really Conte really making a statement.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Well, Liverpool supposedly linked.
Yeah, we were to say Liverpool standard they're interested but never do business in January, so they'll go, we'll see what happens in the summer. I hope no one signs him. And Tottenham have apparently put a bid in. Whether that Porto will accept that or not, I'm not sure I can see Porto letting him go in January.
No.
I think...
Especially with them... Are they in the Champions League still, Porto?
I think... No, they're not.
Are they Europa League now? Or did they drop out completely?
No, they're Europa now.
Are they?
Atletico beat them on the last day, didn't they? I can't Google it
because my laptop's all the way over there.
I'm pretty sure Atletico beat... I know AC Milan are definitely out because they were Porto in the same group as Liverpool, and Liverpool beating AC Milan put them out. So, and I'm pretty sure Atletico beat Porto, so that would mean they... Oh yeah, Atletico are through, isn't they? Because they had United.
Yep.
Yeah, Porto, Europa League.
Yeah, Lazio, they've got in the Europa League.
Yeah, they'll feel like they can... And they'll rightly so. They'll feel like they can go far in the Europa League, so they will want to keep him.
And why would they want to sell to Tottenham who aren't even in Europe this season?
So the other thing, Tottenham, they were one of the teams that was also hunting Vlahovic, but that's not happening now.
They weren't as strong, really, rumours as the Arsenal rumours.
No. I think Conte is very frustrated by the sounds of it, because he's basically the same thing that happened to him at Inter, which led to him leaving in the summer, as he's gone to the board and said, these are some players I like, can we sign them? And the board's come back and gone, no, we ain't got any money, mate.
Yep.
Which is why he left Inter. So, I don't know, Adama Traore is looking the most likely one, but then at the same time, that's apparently been close for a week and hasn't gone any further, so I can see that just being one of them things that it'll be the whole story on deadline day, are Spurs going to get the Traore deal through, then 3 hours later they'll go, yeah, Spurs have sacked it off because Wolves want too much money or something.
Interesting. According to Twitter, a lot of people are worried about Everton and Brentford, and by the looks of it, they don't look like they're going to be doing anything, and teams like, well, obviously, we're coming on to Watford now, they have made some incomings.
Yeah.
Burnley, Newcastle look like they're going to be spending some money this window, and, well, potentially Norwich, not so much, but they are building some form. They are building some form.
I would say, I think Watford's decent business, to be fair to him. Hassan Kamara.
He's a very good left-back.
Very, like you say, put in some solid shifts at Nice.
Yep.
Samir, their standard signing from Udinese, looked all right, although he's been all right, a bit ropey, but if nothing else, he's done an all right job for a couple of games while Will Troost-Ekong is at the AFCON.
Yep.
Although, did Nigeria go through? I can't remember.
They
got knocked out, yeah, so he'll be back.
Tunisia beat them.
Yeah, so I think realistically, he probably is. Samir is probably not going to be a starter when Ekong comes back. I don't know. Kamara, I do like as a player. I think he's very decent. I saw he was linked with a couple of clubs in the summer, but nothing went through. I thought he would have been a good signing for them.
Yeah.
It's just that their problem is that they know they're probably going to go down. But the other thing they've done, it's outside of, which is still technically a transfer, is the manager. Ranieri's gone. Roy Hodgson's in.
Roy Hodgson's back in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm. Ranieri, obviously, I said to.
I mean, the thing is with Watford, they've got rid of Ranieri. They had to get someone in who knows the Premier League.
Yep. I'm claiming as well that, because not on the podcast, I don't think, but I said 2 weeks ago to Ben and Jake that, actually more like a month ago, I said to them too, like, I reckon Ranieri will be gone before the start of February. New manager will come in, win like 3 out of 4 or something random like that. And that short little, like, new manager bounce, then they'll go back to being rubbish. But that short little spell where they picked up like 10 points out of 15, they'll end up staying up by like a couple of points because of that. And so far, step 1's in. Ranieri's gone by February, and Hodgson's in. So let's see if I have that one right.
Exactly. It's a fairly solid prediction to date.
Yeah.
Whether it follows through or not,
obviously the main thing their main change has been with the manager. I don't think Hodgson's going to have enough time to get in and manage to get the ball to nab him someone. So I think he's going to be left with Ranieri's squad. But
yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
We'll see what Hodgson can do. 2 more clubs to go. 2 top half clubs. West Ham. No really any outgoings.
West Ham has just been quite quiet, although apparently they matched Newcastle's bid for Diego Carlos, but he's going to stay at Sevilla now, by the looks of it, so that's what happened. They are apparently I think they are looking to get a centre-back in.
Duje Kaleta-Carr's been linked with them once again, and obviously we mentioned earlier with Burnley potentially wanting Bamba Dieng.
Yeah, and
Marseille want players off the book, but Duje Kaleta-Carr is one of their main starters, and obviously Marseille are doing well. Are they doing well in Ligue 1? I don't really know.
I don't know. So centre-back, I think, looked like what they were going for, but they tried to hijack the Carlos deal, and then ended up no one can hijack it because he's going to stay.
Yep.
Phillips was a name thrown around again.
Tarkowski again.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really see either of them going through.
Tarkowski's not leaving this window. He'll go on a free in the summer, which
I'm
happy with in a sense.
If he looks like he'll be off to Newcastle if he goes anywhere, unless Brighton let Burton go to Newcastle and then he signs for Brighton.
Yeah, interesting.
The other thing is, obviously, as I said earlier, Stuart Pearce said they would definitely be interested in getting Lingard back for 6 months, same deal they did last year. So potentially could see that go through, although with Ben Rama being back from AFCON, Vlasic is starting to pick up a little bit of form.
And Jared Bowen being in the form of his life.
Yeah, Fornals as well, had a brilliant season. I'm not sure that's necessarily needed. I don't see if that'll go through. Obviously the midfield, they know they're fine with Souček and Rice, unless there's injuries there. You've got, the full-backs are good enough. You've got enough options there. So centre-back and... So potentially Lingard is the only things we may see from West Ham. The likelihood is going to be a pretty quiet window.
Yeah,
for what's left.
More than likely. Does bring us on to Wolverhampton Wanderers. We've said about Adama leaving. He's been out of favour at Wolves over the last season or so since Lager has come in. Is that how you pronounce it?
Lager, I think. I don't know.
Lager, I don't know.
Bruno. Let's call him Bruno.
Bruno Lag. Yeah, Adama looks like the main player that's going to leave. Whether Spurs can get their act together or not is another matter.
I don't know if that'll go. I think at this point, Spurs have taken too long at this point for Wolves not being able to have time to spend their money.
No.
Until the summer, I think that will be the blocker now.
Hwang has looked like he's going to be...
Well, they've
triggered his buy clause.
Yeah. So he looks like he'll be signing on a permanent.
Which is a good deal. He's done well.
They got in a young winger called Chiquinho, I think that's pronounced.
Chiquinho from Estoril.
Yep, I think he's...
Again, Wolves know their Portuguese market, so they'll know what they're buying.
Yeah, again, Wolves are another one of them teams that if they sign someone, you know it's probably going to go well, same as Brentford. They don't have many howlers, because... The one you'd say is Fabio Silva for the price, but he's actually starting to look a really good player now, and if he gets a solid run in the team, he'll probably match Jimenez's numbers on his current form, because he is still struggling on return from his head injury.
Yeah.
But I think they don't really have many howlers with their signings wall, so he'll probably be alright, but he won't get many minutes, will he? And I don't think they really need much else, Wolves, to be honest. Maybe they could have done with a defender, maybe, because they do currently have 3 fit centre-halves. And will be 4 when Saiss comes back, which when you play 3 centre-backs is
not great.
Slightly worrying. There were links that Matt Doherty would come back as part of the Traore deal, but they died off pretty quickly, and Semedo's miles better.
Semedo's class.
Semedo's miles better, so... I think, Wolves, I don't really think they need anyone. I think they're strong enough. Pedro Neto coming back will be good for them as well. If he can get anywhere near his form he had last season, then there'll be another few goals.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised to see them finish in the European spot, definitely.
Every chance, really, which will be good for Lagi and his first season at Wolves.
They get their signings well, don't they? The case in point in Jose Sarr.
Exactly. Bargain at the minute, really.
Yep.
That does bring an end to our 20-club roundup. I mean, if we're going to say one club that's really going to be busy on deadline day, who are we saying?
I don't know. I just don't think it's going to... January windows... are never usually overly busy, but I think this has been a more quiet one. I think it has to be Newcastle, realistically, the busiest.
I think the 2 busiest clubs will be Newcastle and Burnley, if I'm honest.
I think, really, if
Burnley are not a club that do business in January, but I think the owners know we need to do business in January.
Yeah. If there's any club that's going to get 2 or more deals done in the next 5 days as we're recording, 4 as this goes out, it will be Newcastle.
Yep.
You'd expect at least one of, well, Grimares looks like it's already happening, and then probably
having a medical.
At least one of Burnham Phillips will probably come in as well, and potentially even a left back might come out of nowhere as well.
Yeah, every chance. But I would just like to say that rhythm is a dancer, Orsic is the answer. You won't stop him if you dare. He came from Croatia to be Burnley's saviour, scoring goals from everywhere.
Right, I was going to say cut that out, but you're the editor, so you're going to leave that in.
Yeah, of course I'm going to leave it in. Orsic is coming to Burnley, boys.
Well,
Come on.
We'll be making our own transfer signing, because we'll be signing Jake back on a new contract next week.
Are we?
Hopefully.
Are we?
Not on the contract, we don't do that, but hopefully we'll be signing Jake back.
We've also, breaking news, we'd like to announce our signing for a new five-a-side team. I won't say the team name on here, just in case, but... We have moved clubs. A signing fee at what? Nothing. No signing fee. It's a free transfer.
Imagine if Watford and Norwich merged to try and actually have a chance of staying up. That's what we've done. We've merged with the other worst team in the league.
We've merged with the worst club and the second worst club, joined together to make just an ultimate shit show.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, breaking news. According to Sky sources, Ben, Rob, and Jake have agreed a fee to join Baines on Toast.
They're on separate teams with Jake, mate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm going to clatter him.
That's a good point. I'm going to make sure that he does not score past me at all.
I'm going to 2-foot him, even though he's not allowed to slide.
Oh well,
it's funny, isn't it?
It'd be funny, innit? Yeah, that would be very funny. But yeah, I don't really know what we're going to be doing content-wise over the next coming weeks because, as per usual, I usually leave it to the last minute.
Yeah.
But obviously, if Jake's coming back, he will help me with content a bit because what else is he got to do?
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think we'll be we're on a good path this year. I hope we've made a couple of upgrades already with obviously the new setup, as you've seen in the last 2 podcasts.
Last one.
Well, 2 including this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we're making some changes. We're hopefully on a solid enough path, and we'll see where it goes. Because no one else will do that for a couple of weeks, and it will go downhill again. So we'll leave it at that.
Exactly. But in terms of the HMB podcast, well, thank you for listening. I don't really know what I'm doing for this outro. I've completely lost the plot. You can outro it.
Right, if you don't know what you're doing, then we'll say then, thank you for
listening. Orsic is signing for Burnley.
Yep, alright, use that. Might as well. Bye.
Ta-ra.